One of the series that I loved growing up was Star Trek. I was quite proud of being a Trekkie, at least, the original version. And I absolutely loved the opening mission statement, to boldly go where no man had gone before. And I loved even better when they made it non-gender specific and changed it to where no one had gone before. I think there's a piece of us that likes to be first, to be innovators, to be creative thinkers, to sort of make a way where others have not even thought about the possibilities there. But sometimes we are followers, whether it's forced on us or we choose to be, and sometimes it's not bad being a follower, especially when there are challenges ahead of us. We kind of want to know that someone's been there before and somehow managed to get over it, through it, around it, whatever. I'll give you an example. You know those brothers that I grew up with? Okay. Near our home, maybe about 2 miles away, there was a pool that we used to go to, to swim. And one day, the two older brothers, learned that there was a shortcut from the pool to home. Don't use the roads, that's too easy, right? So they're going to go through, because we live on the hills, this bushy area, and because, I know the smart thing to do. I'm outnumbered. I have to go along with them. So we go through this path, through up and down rugged hills, over whatever, and it's all fine until we come to a gully. And this gully is paved, and it has a ledge about the width of the rail here. And that's when they tell me that we have to walk along that for a while and get to a point where we literally jump over the gully to the other side. And that's the way home. I wasn't going to turn back at that point. And the truth is, the oldest brother went ahead. So, keeping my eyes on his shirt, I put one foot in front of the other and tried not to think about anything except he's ahead of me, while the other one in the back was going, hurry up, keep going. And we went along the way, knees knocking, shaking, but we made it. Even the jump across, we made it. Now, in that story, which I think they'll remember, but I think they'll be really surprised that I am going to compare them to Jesus. They, in many ways, were like Jesus. They went first. They also protected me and sort of encouraged me along the way. The story that Deacon Walter just read, our gospel story, is about Jesus going back to his hometown. It should have been a really wonderful occasion. He has been off doing ministry in various places, and over the last few weeks we have heard about some of the things he has done. The woman was healed when she touched the hem of his garment. He talked to that little girl, Jairus' daughter, who died, commanded her to get up, and she got up. A story that our lectionary skipped over is of this man who was possessed by demons and was so out of control that he had to live in the caves outside of his community, and Jesus healed him. Those stories had made their way back to Nazareth. They had heard about all the wonderful, amazing things that Jesus had been doing, about what he was teaching. So when he goes back home to visit family, and the Sabbath comes around and he goes to the synagogue, they ask him to teach. This is wonderful, good news. Recognition for what Jesus had become, what he was revealing of himself. But all three, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, tell us that wonderful welcome soon changed. In a matter of what seems like seconds, good boy return home feeling came to who does he think he is attitude. And they reject who he is. They reject all that he has been doing and saying and representing. And because of that, Jesus could not heal and bless and pour his grace upon them. It's as if his hands are tied because people weren't open to seeing who he was and receiving him and what he had to offer. But here is where I'm comparing him to Donald and Junior. Because Jesus knows the journey is difficult. And if you think that discipleship is easy, think again. The journey is difficult. It is full of frustration. It has its moments of sorrow. It has many difficult times. It has its joys. But the journey that you are called to take on as a disciple of Jesus has its gullies, the ledges to walk, the jumps that you have to make. It has its dangers. Jesus knew that. And the disciples are seeing Jesus experience it. And what they are now seeing is that in the moment of rejection, Jesus does not turn around and condemn. Jesus leaves and he goes to other towns and he teaches and preaches and heals and pours his grace on those who are open to seeing who he is and who open to receiving him. And then the story says, he sends out disciples 2 by 2. You see, he has shown the way, not just which way to go, but how to travel as you carry out God's mission in this world. You get to the obstacles, you do your best, and if you meet upon rejection and frustration and whatever, you take your ministry, your mission, your gifts, the grace that God has given you, and you apply it to something else. Because God's word must be preached. It is an invitation not only to follow like Jesus, but to be ready to do mission in different places, in different ways, like Jesus did. He sends those disciples out 2 by 2, and he says, don't take anything that's going to weigh you down. Don't pack that suitcase. Don't take anything, not just material things that might be weighing you down so you can't do the work of God, but attitudes as well. Don't take that with you. Because rejection is a hard thing. Rejection will stop you in your path. And Jesus is saying, don't let that interfere with the work that God has given you to do. So he sends them out 2 by 2. So you're not alone. Even if you think that there is no one else doing that work, somewhere God has provided a companion for you, a fellow worker in God's ministry is there for you. You will just need to open your eyes and see that grace, that gift that God has showered you with. You know, we're going to sing I think it's during the offertory, or no, later, Amazing Grace, her. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. It's grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will take me home. Jesus has grace for you when you get to those moments in your life, on your faith journey. Grace to give you the wisdom to keep going. And remember, Jesus has been there before. Jesus walks ahead of you. We keep our eyes on Jesus, and we have company to encourage us along the way. May we go boldly, following the path that Jesus has shown us. Amen.
Amen.